Good afternoon and welcome to the third meeting of the Honolulu Liquor Commission. Please silence all of your electronic devices, and if you're appearing today, please introduce yourself and spell your name for our commission reporter, Ms. Katara. If you're testifying, please come forward, introduce yourself, and be sworn in by Assistant Administrator Harai. Before I go into the approval of minutes, I'd like to just extend on behalf of the commission a happy 38th birthday to Investigator Sato. Where is he?
He's
You knew it was coming. Wow, goodness. There's actually people out there that. There he is.
And we missed the commissioner
Okay, come inside, please. I'll repeat myself. There are people out there that are 38 years old. Goodness, terrific. Okay, so moving into the before we go into the public hearing, Commissioner, I see we have some minutes.
Yes, Chair. Motion to approve the regular minutes of the 20th, the 35th, and the 37th meetings, and the executive session minutes of the 35th and 37th meetings as previously circulated. Second.
Then moved in second. All those in favor?
Aye.
I vote aye. The regular minutes of the 20th, 35th, and 37th meetings, and the executive session meetings of the 35th and 37th meeting are approved. Moving into the public hearing, calling agenda item number 1, application number 18-13591 from BLH Brewing LLC. Mr. Luke, please.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, members of the Commission. To my far right is Derek Taguchi. Next to me is Nicholas Wall, owners of the applicant LLC. May the record reflect Wayne Lucas, counsel.
Thank you.
We do have one housekeeping matter before,
Very good.
and that is that we are knocking it down from a 2 to a 1 as far as the category. Right now, the application is for a beer club 2, and for the record, we want to knock it down to a 1.
Okay, so there'll be no live entertainment or
No,
recording?
that's
Yes,
that's correct. Yeah,
Very good, thank you.
we have nothing, no other changes.
Okay, Ms. Rai.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and Commissioners. This application has received 16 written protests representing 34.78% of the owners and lessees within 500 feet of the proposed premises, over 341 signatures in support. Unfortunately, at this time, administration is unable to make a determination whether the applicant has met statutory requirements for the following reasons. The first is pertaining to the applicant's compliance with HRS 28157C, dealing with mail-outs to registered voters within 500 feet of the proposed premises. Your packets do contain the supplemental and second supplemental report prepared by the investigator, as well as the response from the applicant's counsel. The second reason pertains to issues raised in written protests to the application, claiming that the proposed use will prohibit the proposed use is prohibited by the condominium property regime declaration document, and whether or not that that fact is contrary to the HRS 28138, which provides that every license issued under this chapter shall contain the condition that it is subject to this chapter, which means the liquor laws, and any other laws, emphasizing the word laws, applicable to the business of the licensee. And for those two reasons, we are unable to make a determination that applicant has met statutory requirements for the submission of this application.
Thank you. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to testify for or against this application? Okay, so we have some, yes. Pardon? No, ma'am. Pastor Kevin? I have a sign-in sheet here. Okay, Bill Cavadat? Pastor, come forward.
I'm gonna have to swear you in.
Good afternoon,
Oh,
Pastor Bill.
can I swear you in, please? Sorry. Do you swear that the testimony you give today's hearing will be the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you. 2 minutes.
Do I have 2 minutes? Please have a seat, Pastor.
so used to standing.
It makes us nervous.
Yeah. Excuse me if I speak too loud. I got hearing aids on, and just so happened, brought my reading glasses with me, and I noticed in the car, in the parking lot, that one of my lens fell off. So, I mean, I still have to see. Okay.
Call the senior moment, Pastor.
Back in 2002, I looking for a place for our congregation, and I was searching for about 8 years. And my wife and I worked for the ministry for 10 years without any salary. And so when my friend Steve Saito told me about this place at LIQ Gentry, I went to check it out. I drove by after church, Sunday evenings, work days, work nights, 12 o'clock at night, seeing if there's people drinking and partying up in the parking lots, things like that, and saying loud negative words. And I wanted a good environment for the church. And I had an opportunity to purchase a place in Waipahu, which was larger and cheaper, but I chose not to because of the environment. And I'm sorry, I read in the wrong page. There's my message for Sunday. So I started the bylaws. I got a copy of the bylaws and declarations of the OK Industrial Court, and I started that. I read it 25 times, and also got some information from the city and county of Honolulu concerning what are the churches, what the church can do in the industrial area, and I read that over and over again. I felt that if I was going to move to Pakistan or China, I'm going to have to start at the country and make sure I can conform with their ways and not go into the country and try to change things around to conform to my needs. So anyway, can I show you a plan?
With all due respect, it is time, but I didn't have the nerve to stop it, so.
I feel a
Continue.
picture is worth more than 1,000 words. So here we have OK Industrial Court, and this is OK Street. That's the main street. All right. So you enter through here. People that drive, there's a lot of people drive through day and night, go through here and come back around this way. And if they park, sometimes they go back out the other way, and vice versa. And people go this way. And the yellow spaces are all parking stalls. And there are 20 feet between this parking stall that's parallel with the building and these other parking stalls. This is the church location. All right. And this location is where the rock climbing people have. And this is a proposed bar or whatever you want to call it. So there are some negatives in this because people that go to here, their children, families, and for some reason, I notice a lot of the families, they just walk. There is no sidewalk. There's no walkway, there's no curbing. So people have to walk where the cars go. So the mixture of cars and pedestrian is a very dangerous one. And I've noticed some people, the dad is walking and the mom is about 3 feet from him. She's carrying a little baby. A 5-year-old boy walking 10 feet in front of them. An 80-year-old girl walking about 6 feet from them. And a small little toddler walking in the back of them. I seen them come and go, and they were in the same position. My office is located up here on the second floor, so I can see everything that goes on over here. I see all the people come and go. And sad to say, a lot of the folks think they're walking in a mall. They're not aware of traffic. And myself, this Sunday, I made a mistake. I left the church. I was carrying my briefcase. I was speaking to my one of my friends, and I stepped out and between the cars, and I stopped. And the car stopped right there. I forgot myself.
Pastor, you're
And
going to
it's
have
so
to,
easy.
excuse me, you're going to have to summarize in all due respect to other people that are here.
Oh, okay.
So we understand you are against this licensing, correct?
Yes, but I just want you to realize that there is a dangerous spot. A lot of people drive through and they make contact with this stone wall here. They hit my car over here, and I just want to let you know that it's a dangerous mixture when you have children and parents and drunk drivers, and that's a bad mixture. Drinking and driving don't mix, and we're looking at a situation here that can cost somebody their lives, or it's a sad thing. July 17, 2013, I lost my grandson. He's 220 pounds. He got ran over by a car, and I miss him so much. Every day that boy would call me up. He's 28 years old. He called me every day. Grandpa, what can we do today? What you want to do? What can I help you with?
Pastor,
Just, I must sit down. Thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
your time.
okay, can we have Mr. Ronald Knapp?
Can I swear- you can be seated, I can swear you in.
Okay.
Go ahead. Do you swear that the testimony you give today's hearing will be the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Thank you.
First of all, I apologize for my shaking. I have Parkinson's. I can't stop it.
It's totally acceptable, thank you.
Necessary.
I'll just be very short. In going through the documents to review the application that has been presented to us as a board of directors, that no apartment may be used as a bar, nightclub, or tavern. And this is the situation that we have. A bar and sorry. The bar is denied by the declaration of the condominium property regime of the KA Industrial Court, and I do believe that that's the situation we have here. So I'm against the issuance of a liquor license. I just say that much.
Commissioners, do you have any questions for the testifier? Thank you for coming, sir. Can we have Mr. Arnold Okubu?
My name is
Do you swear that the testimony you give at today's hearing will be the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
yes.
Thank you.
My name is Arnold Okubo.
I have a unit at OK Industrial Court, which is a condominium association.
And basically, the most important thing I'd like to mention is that our condominium declaration, which is like a bylaws, states that it states that for this project of industrial courts, no apartment shall be used as a bar, nightclub, or tavern, even though such use may be permitted under the land use ordinance and the city council of Honolulu. We as tenants were not sure what was going on in the unit when they were doing the work. And we found out only when we received a notice of license application on May 23rd. That's when I received my notice. Then we started to find out what's going on. And the owner of the unit did not submit a plan. Normally a plan gets submitted to the board of directors for approval and review, but no plan was submitted. And I'm not sure if BHL Buren received the declaration or the house rules and bylaws by the owner. And so we brought it to attention to the Liquor Commission that our declaration in condominium does not allow the use as a bar. And I know that initially had to apply for a class 2 license to serve liquor on premise, but then he changed it to class 1. Then I reviewed the class 1. Class 1 does not allow liquor to be served on the premises, but the commission can give an exception. And I'm not sure whether they're going to apply for the exception. And so, therefore, if the liquor commission applies for the liquor to be served on premise, then it really goes against our condominium declaration. And it may be a problem for our condominium association. This is why, there's other issues that we're against object to the issue of a liquor license. I submitted a written statement earlier before the first hearing. But I think the main item is that our condominium association does not allow a bar, tavern, or a nightclub and to serve liquor on premise. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Is there anybody else in the audience that would like to testify for or against this application? Please come forward.
Do you swear that the testimony given today is going to be the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Thank you.
My name is Cindy Goldstein. I'm Cindy Goldstein. I'm the Executive Director of the Hawaiian Craft Brewers Guild, Aloha. The Hawaiian Craft Brewers Guild represents the small craft breweries in the state of Hawaii that make 100% of their beer in Hawaii. And Beer Lab Hawaii is one of our member breweries, and as such, we fully embrace and promote the responsible consumption of alcohol. It's certainly understandable that there are many that are interested in the nature of the craft beer production and consumption, and going for a Class 1 manufacturing license seems to make sense in terms of a craft brewery producing and manufacturing beer here in Hawaii and being part of the local business economy. Part of craft beer and enjoying craft beer is the education and learning more about beer styles and choices. Our member breweries often have tap rooms where consumers are able to sample the different beer, get an understanding of different beer choices, and it's more of an education and an increase of awareness and appreciation of craft beer. This is not about mass consumption. It's not about a bar where people are drinking large amounts of alcohol. It's an appreciation and a tasting room and perhaps sampling of beer in a tasting room, but is not about mass consumption. It's for consumers to develop a taste and preference for craft beer produced here in Hawaii. These experiences model responsible consumption of alcohol. So the Hawaiian Craft Brewers Guild would like to see successful craft beer manufacturing in the state of Hawaii and in the city and county of Honolulu. As a good neighbor, Beer Lab Hawaii understands the importance of being a good neighbor, being a good member of the community, and contributing to the local community. The Hawaiian Craft Brewers Guild fully supports a favorable ruling on the approval of the Beer Lab Hawaii liquor license application. And again, we embrace and promote the responsible consumption of alcohol. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Commissioners, do you have any questions? Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Do we have anybody else? Please come forward.
Do you swear that the testimony given today's hearing will be the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Joe Lorenzen, first name J-O-E, last name L-O-R-E-N-Z-E-N. Hello, thank you very much for the opportunity to testify. I'm a partner and brewmaster at Waikiki Brewing Company. We are a direct competitor of Beer Lab, and as a direct competitor, you would probably imagine that I would be here to oppose them, especially since they're one of the best brewers in the state and looking to expand, but I am not here to oppose them. I'm here to offer my support and also share my experience of having operated 2 brew pubs here in the city and county of Honolulu. As I'm sure that most of those present in this room know, there is often opposition to the issuance of new liquor licenses. I understand that, and I understand the reasoning behind for those opposed, especially for some classes of license. But the brewpub class license is a very special class. Brewpubs are very much less of a bar-type environment, and much more their community gathering places. If you have visited either of Waikiki Brewing Company's pubs, or Beer Lab's university location, you will know this immediately. Whether it be hosting fundraisers for community organizations such as Surfrider, hosting photography clubs, yoga socials, trivia nights, you'll find that the crowds that gather at brew pubs are not rowdy and focused on drinking and debauchery. Rather, they are thoughtful members of their community, looking to come together to share some time with each other over some fresh, locally crafted beer. This brings me to my next big point, which is the economic benefit that a brewpub provides by creating this locally crafted product. Breweries, unlike bars, have a deep impact on the financial health of the community. A bar may employ 1 or 2 bartenders who serve drinks. A brewery employs brewers, delivery drivers, salespeople, cellar workers, lab technicians. When we sell our products in the market, we add more jobs in distribution, retail, packaging, etc. We buy local produce for our brews. We support local farmers with our spent grain. Yes, our downstream production byproducts feed cows and pigs, which in turn feed our community. Every aspect of a brewery business is integrated in a fine web of interconnectedness with the community. Though neighbors may often be skeptical of any new liquor license application, I believe you will find that adding Beer Lab to your neighborhood will bring richness and life to the area that will be appreciated by all. This has certainly been the case for us at our 2 pubs, where we have been embraced by our neighbors, making friend after friend. I implore all of you, neighbors, commissioners, and the community at large, to support Beer Lab. Not only will it be a benefit to the community, but they make really good beer too. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Commissioners, any questions? Do we have anybody else in the audience that would like to excuse me, testify for or against this application? Please come forward, sir.
Do you swear that the testimony given today's hearing will be the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
My name is Justin Galvez. I'm in support of the Beer Lab license. All I want to say is that the guys behind Beer Lab, they're good guys. They want to make sure they do the right thing. If they're granted this license, they're going to do the right thing. But I also want to touch on the experience that I have at Beer Lab. It's not a bar. When it comes down to a bar, I'm from the area. I'm from Milwaukee. Now, there's a place called the Shack. It's right across the street from a church. Right across the street. And the thing is, that's a bar. That's where you're going to find, that stigma of, drinking, the rowdiness, things like that. I've never really found that at Beer Lab. Not at all. Again, it's about trivia, trivia nights, where I frequently go to on a Tuesday. I meet friends there. Sometimes I may not even have a beer. I may just have some kombucha, something that they actually do too. I mean, it's a totally different experience. If you want to go to a bar, that's going to be the Shack or Taps and Apps up the road in Milwaukee. If it's something where you just want to come taste or experience what craft brew is like, then you're going to go to Beer Lab. It's a place where you can open up your mind to just what else is out there. I fell in love with craft beer when I was living in Oregon for about 10 years, and I found it over here. The first place I found it was at Beer Lab. Again, these guys are big in what they're doing. I would love for them to continue their business and expanding and everything that they do. That's it.
Commissioners, any questions? Hearing none, seeing none, Mr. Luke.
The
Do you
next,
have
Let's
heard
see.
protests from the community? Please respond,
Yes.
Mr. Wong.
So first of all, I just want to thank you guys for taking the time to listen to our application. I know it's been a long process, and again, we just wanted to reiterate, as you know, we require our license to operate our business. It's very important to us, and such we've done everything in our power to show that we can operate as a responsible business. So again, just remember, we would like the opportunity really to show that we can be good neighbors and good members of the community. The first point I really wanted to touch on was, after really reviewing these letters, we found these letters appear to be drafted and compiled by the association's attorney. And we found roughly 8 of these, I believe 16 letters are completely identical with just signatures on them. While every owner is allowed to express his or her own opinion on these licenses, we don't really feel it's acceptable for board members and associations to utilize their position to get people to sign in essence. That's just opinion, but so again, I really wanted to start through this and touch on the concerns that the protest brought about and move from there. So again, one of the first concerns we had here is I just do not approve of this type of business in our condominium complex due to children's security and safety. Again, we check IDs. So again, if we send all our people to your guys' manager training course, just one level above, just for the sole fact that we want to get them the most they can. We check IDs for any individuals who appear under the age of 30. Our tasting room is actually very well lit, and alcohol is only accessible and served from behind the bar, not going around and serving it to other people. Again, our establishment is family friendly. As supported by the testimony that was provided on 7-5, our tasting room is not like a bar. No hard liquor will be served. Only our beer will be served. We don't have any happy hours, no specials, no live music. One of the points we did want to bring up was our House Bill number 2410 that was recently passed in July. It's actually regarding minors in breweries. Again, if I could read I guess a line from it. So similar to wineries, craft breweries allow guests to visit the production location for tours and educational opportunities, and clearly delineating the difference between bars and breweries. Again, to keep it a little short, first, the second concern that was brought up. So I do not want an establishment adjacent to our apartment that has the potential to sell and serve alcohol to individuals essentially all night long and into the early morning hours of 4 a.m. And I object to the noise and nuisance it would create in the surrounding property. So again, our brewpub license does not allow us to serve till 4. First off, it allows us to serve till 2 a.m. We will be further restricting our hours till 10 p.m. One of the other points we did want to bring up in that case was we are located in an I-2 intensive industrial area zoned for the city and county zoning department. It is, again, the I-2 industrial area, so it's our intent to not disturb any of the residents who may live nearby, which is why we chose this I-2 intensive industrial area. One of the things we did want to bring up was the intent of this zoned area is to welcome businesses that have uses that are noxious, noisy, and even potentially hazardous. That is what the I-2 intensive industrial zone is for. So again, for the land use ordinance section 21-3.130, industrial districts, purpose and intent. One of the lines from here is the limited business activities that directly support the industrial uses or those employed by industrials therein are permitted in these districts. Specific to the intensive industrial I-2 district, it shall be located in areas away from residential communities where certain heavy industrial uses would be allowed. Again, another point we did want to touch on was after doing further research into these land use ordinances, we found the standards of meeting facilities, or e.g. churches, located in I-2 heavy industrial areas. So meeting facility use in industrial district, they actually need to submit a special declaration to the department stating that they recognize they are in an I-2 industrial area. The declaration shall also include and contain provisions which preclude the meeting facility and its representatives from filing nuisance complaints against any industrial use operating in compliance with applicable laws, such as noise and smell complaints. Sorry, do you guys have any questions on that concern? Before I move on, get a little too far into it.
Thank you, Mr. Luke.
Oh no, sorry. I did want to really go into the details of.
I see you being animated.
Yeah.
But yeah, sorry. Do you just have any questions on that concern before I get too far into
I
it?
do have a question about
Yes.
this location. Were you folks aware of the condominium association?
Sadly, when we did sign our lease, we were not aware of that declaration. I guess it is one level even below what the bylaws are. If that is truly your guys' only concern, I can go a little bit deep. I can skip all of this and go directly into that.
Yeah, answer that. The lease they got from the landlord specifically states they could do
Brewery
a
tasting.
brewery, brew pub.
And this lease,
It's from the landlord to them.
and there was no disclosure of it, of the controlling condominium association?
There was not. Well, there was mention of the condominium association, but not directly the declaration.
But the landlord put the use that they could specifically have a brew pub.
The declaration was recorded, right?
Yes.
Again, I know there are a lot of concerns brought up on this this application. We have about 14 here that we have recorded and responded to. If I was planning to go through all of them just to make sure that we hit on every single concern, but if your only true concern is that declaration, I would like to go into that specifically.
Let me ask.
I have
Yes.
another question.
Vice Chair Gadaman,
Go ahead.
Commissioner Lee.
No, I just have a question.
Yep.
Will you be planning to serve any other alcoholic beverages besides what you are producing?
We are not planning to.
So just beer.
Mr.
Vice
Wong,
Chair Gadaman.
thank you. Mr. Wong,
Yes.
so I've extensively gone through this and so my questions are very pointed and I'll question according to the exhibit. So first, we're gonna go into the exhibits that you provided, the most recent exhibits, yeah.
Please.
Specifically, we're gonna go to exhibit which is the declaration,
Yes.
and specifically page 6, which you referenced, which is 9.1 section.
Yes.
And I'll reiterate saying, and that's page 6 of the declaration, it keeps going over and saying under the permitted use, but it also quotes with the prior written approval of the board of directors. That's section 9.1 on the use. You reiterated that in your response as well to the different to the people who have protested the license, specifically bullet point 6. And it again states that you would, let me see, the apartment shall be occupied and used for only the purposes permitted from time to time by applicable zoning ordinances. So in the declaration, if I'm not mistaken and I'm reading this incorrectly, you should have received approval from the board of directors. Am I incorrect with that? So let's look at the declaration, page 6, 9.1 section.
Yes.
Is that not adhering to saying that you have to get written approval from the board of directors?
That is not the way we understand that section. Currently, how we understand the section is that if we are going outside of the realms of what the applicable laws are, that's when we would need the written approval of the board.
So I'll go into that applicable use that you're claiming it to be, or you're taking it as. You've outlined to us that in exhibit 10, your proposed use is considered to be food meeting with incidental retail.
Food manufacturer.
Food manufacturer with incidental retail. To exhibit that, it would have to be that you have determined that the vast majority, over 90% of your square footage of where you're occupying is utilized for manufacturing beer.
Yes, that's true.
So I'll point you to your exhibit C, which is your floor plan.
Yep.
And you can tell the commission how much is dedicated specifically for the tasting room and for these activities that you're proposing.
So we have roughly about 2,800 square feet ish, give or take a couple tens feet or so. Of that 2,800 square feet, we have designated 200 square feet for our tasting room.
In this 200 square feet, you've also previously represented that your groups come in about 20, an average of about 20 people, no more than 20 people come to these.
I'm sorry.
Last time.
Last time. Oh, I mean.
Last time we were
Yes.
here, yes, I believe that I questioned you because we were on a parking situation.
Okay.
So if I'm not mistaken, the point made was that there was about 20 people that would be coming to these activities or these families, so to speak, right?
Yes, we do only have seating for 15 though, so maybe that was a mistake on my part.
Okay. In your floor plan, you have 2 tables and a tabletop bar, so to speak.
Yes.
These activities that your brew pub does, which is play games, do all these kinds of things, how is it being utilized in 200 square feet?
Sorry, I guess I'm missing that question. Are you inferring that the space is too small to play games in? Or
With
sorry.
what you're proposing to
Yes.
do and what you're supporting your activities and the use of this brew pub,
yes.
you're advocating that this is a family space and this is what it is, and
Yes.
you're dedicating 200 square feet. Previous to this, there was also an outdoor. It was proposed for an outdoor use that we talked about the first hearing.
Yes.
That was eliminated out of that as well, right? Because it was going to be entertained in a four parking stalls.
Yes.
That was then scrapped, right? Because I questioned about that, and you guys said no, that you guys weren't going to do that. So now you're limiting down to 200 square feet, and you're not planning to extend any of that to accommodate any of the other activities or anything that you guys are doing.
Yes.
And that's how you're maintaining and saying that it's 90% of your square footage, the 2,800, is considered to be for food manufacture.
Yes.
By you determining that, when you filled out your building permit, the proposed use was initiated by you, right?
No, it was not.
Who was it initiated by?
Sorry, yes it was. It was confirmed by the zoning department.
So you determined that by doing the 200 square foot and putting it out on the plans.
Yeah, it was determined by our architect after his recommendation.
Okay. Because and I'm sorry, I'm going all over the place with this, but specifically when we go back to the 9.1, the section on 6, you claim that City and County of Honolulu Department of Planning and Permitting has determined, according to Exhibit 10, our business use as food manufacturer, not the use of bar, nightclub, tavern per the LUO. This was determined by the vast majority, over 90% of our total square footage, being utilized for the manufacture of beer. So that's how you got the proposed usage of it.
Yes.
Okay. So going back to, you didn't determine the declaration as the board of directors being the governing body to receive prior or written approval. What is your determination or what is your interpretation of what 9.1 means and who the board of director or why you didn't need approval from them?
So going back to 9.1, I mean, as I read it, the apartment shall be occupied and used for purposes permitted from time to time by applicable zoning ordinances. The way I understand this is if I am under the rules of the zoning ordinance, land use ordinances of Honolulu, I am okay, right? If I'm going outside of these realms, I think if you go even a little bit further into the declaration, it says if you actually want to live there, you can, but you need to have the board approve that. So really, the way I'm understanding this is that if I'm going outside of the realm of what the zoning ordinances are allowing, I need written approval. I mean, that's I think that really goes further as I am free to operate my business without, I guess, in essence being stopped just because.
And the way that I read it is except as may be permitted. So that's where you're going. Except as, right?
Yes.
Except as may be permitted under the LUO and with the prior written approval of the board of directors.
I mean, I really think going back to this also too is that these are condo documents, right? A lot of this goes into when you move into a even residential condo. You don't need their board of directors to approve you to live there, right? It's if you're gonna do something crazy outside the realm, completely agree. We would need board approval. But if we're operating within the laws of the city and county of Honolulu, state of Hawaii, we do not need approval.
That's all the questions that I have.
I can ask a follow-up question.
Commissioner Mishra.
When did you enter into your lease?
I want to say about December.
2017.
Yes.
Since
December.
this issue arose in terms of whether brew pub is a bar, like Lumber Tavern, has anybody petitioned the court to identify rights and obligations under the declaration?
Sorry?
Has anyone petitioned the court to determine whether your brew pub falls within this definition of what's prohibited?
No, we
under
have not.
section 9.1.
No, we have not.
Do we have any further questions, Commissioner?
Yes, Chair, I have one question.
Vice Chairman.
Moving away from the land use and condo association issue, there's an issue with not meeting statutory requirements for the submission of the application, due to it not being mailed out to registered voters.
Yes.
So what is your response to that, Mr.
I think we can, if within 1 week, we can have that taken care of. If you read the letter from Mr. Sugiuchi. When I first got this application, I always check the area, because when you quote prices as to how much it is, the number of voters, and people around there makes a difference. And in my experience, and in checking this is an I-2 zone. And I'm familiar, unless there's separate special land use variances, you cannot have anybody residing in this area. Yeah. And so that was my first when I went into it. So when we checked the voter registration list, going into that with that in mind that there shouldn't be any registered voters. I think there's 102 pages with about 40 names on it. And the city and county used to have the names of the city, the streets in alphabetical order. But in this particular case, you had to go through the whole area. And probably we missed one, but because there was only one name that was later found, but that wasn't really my concern, because in my findings, there was not supposed to be a registered voter there. And in past liquor commission experiences, we had gone to the city clerk, to settle the matter. Which, when this was brought up, we did go to the city clerk, and a simple letter, will clear that up.
So
And this person,
you're asserting to the commission that you can remedy this situation
yes, because
to meet
this
the
person,
statutory requirements?
yes, this person had no right to say she used her business address, but she used no right, she did not live there.
Thank you.
Any further questions?
One more, sorry.
Vice Chair Gunn.
You've also claimed and you've reached out on 6/21, 6/27, 7/3/76, and 7/14 to request a meeting with the property manager and board of directors. Since then, has anything transpired?
It has not.
And you continue to make attempts still.
Yes.
So do you have any explanation why they wouldn't wanna meet, or what?
I do not. I mean, I understand that if I do get this license, I still need to operate my business there. I need to try to still be a good neighbor to function there. Period. I don't know why.
And your method for reaching out, you've
Email, phone call,
okay.
written
I just
letter.
wanna be clear on that, okay.
Sorry, but one, if possible, one other big point I did want to go into with this bar, nightclub, tavern is our House Bill 2410. I've been very involved pushing this through for Maui, but really we push this through to allow minors in pubs and breweries. Currently in Maui, they don't allow minors in bars. We really wanted to push and make that big distinction between what a brew pub is versus a bar, to allow minors in it, to allow this educational side of it. And then we did get this passed and pushed through Hawaii legislature on that note of it.
Could you kind of expand on your educational offerings that you're offering the public as well as?
Yeah.
Sorry, I may have missed.
No, of course.
If you explained it before.
Oh no, so really what we really push for is it's called Zymergy, it's the science of fermentation. A lot of foods from kimchi all the way to your coffee is fermented. We just happen to use it in beer. That's really also expanded that we're brewing kombucha, which is fermented tea. Really it's showing that a live organism yeast and whatnot, what it can do to your food products and how you can preserve your products and change them into different things. That's the art that we really try to push on a lot of it.
So you are planning to offer sort of tours of your
Of course.
facility?
Yeah, that's a big part of it.
Mr. Lowe?
Well, in summary, what we are asking for, we ask that the commission make a decision. The first point, I think the commission can request that we get the letter from the final letter from the city council. If you read that, to disqualify the one voter in that area, that would be one of the conditions. And regarding the condo area, if you deny the license, well, there's no problem. But if you grant the license, I submit that it's a contractual problem between the applicant and the condo owner. This is in response to Deputy Hirai's initial questions as to who would make the determinations. And I think the commission can act, and that if there is a problem, the problem would be with the applicant and the association. And as I said, we'll correct the other question that the Deputy Hirai, the Administrator Hirai mentioned.
Okay. So Mr. Wong, I have one question. Under what association or property management group are you with? Because in that area, which I am very familiar with, there are multiple property management.
Yes.
Okay.
I believe it's Hawaiian Properties.
Hawaiian properties. Thank you. Commissioners, do I have that type of action?
Motion to convene into executive session.
Second.
Then moved in second, all those in favor? I vote aye, we are now in executive session. we are now back on the official record. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to speak with legal counsel. Commissioners, do you have any further questions or type of action?
Yes, Chair. Motion to approve application number 18-13591.
Second.
Been moved in second, all those in favor?
Aye.
I abstain, the ayes have it. Approval is granted.
Thank you.
So let me call that out officially from the agenda.
And just to confirm, Commissioners, that will be as a category 1 standard.
Yes.
Category
Yes, ma'am.
1.
Okay, so agenda item number 1, application number 18-13591 is approved. Thank you. Take a short momentarily recess here while we shuffle the cards. Okay, we're gonna move around along very quickly now. Okay, calling agenda item number 2, this is a preliminary hearing, application number 18-14259 from Seibu Hana, the Pizza Press. Please come forward. Have a seat. Please introduce yourself.
Hi.
Spell your name.
Yes, my name is Feng Wen, and we are opening up the Pizza Press, which is a pizza and brewery and pizza and craft beers. Not a brewery.
Very good.
Just want to clarify.
Yeah. Commissioners, do you have any questions or type of action?
Motion to approve application number 18-14259.
Second.
Then moved in second, all those in favor?
Aye.
I vote aye. Agenda item number 2, application number 18-14259 is approved. Calling agenda item number 3, application number 1.
I'm sorry, Chair, if I can request
Okay.
to,
For the record, Commissioner Gannabon is, Vice Chair Gannabon is excused.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Calling agenda item number 3, application number 18-14450 from 96734 Tavern Inc. That kind of thing? Huh?
Kailua.
Hello.
Aloha, Mr. Chairperson and Commissioners. I'm Cindy M. Kamau, CINDY MKAMAUU.
Commissioners? Any questions, type of action?
Motion to approve application number 18-14450.
Second.
Moved in second, all those in favor?
Aye.
I vote aye. Agenda item number 3, application number 18-14450 is approved. Thank you for coming, ma'am.
Mahalo.
Moving into request, agenda item number 4, request number 18-13967 from Surface Paradise Hawaii LLC.
Hi, I'm Joseph Lazar, Lazar, operating partner of Surfers Paradise, doing business as Haleiwa Joe's Seafood Grill.
Thank you very much. Commissioner?
I have a question on
Commissioner Lee.
your proposed license area. I think a majority of it seems to be well identified with bushes or planters.
Yes.
24 by 25 area in the front door. What is exactly that area?
Well, it's an area that will be a transition area from the foyer to that lawn area.
Is it delineated in any way?
Uh,
Easily identified?
Currently, no.
So there's no fence or plants or rocks or anything that would indicate where the licensed premises ends?
That is currently correct, but we could put planters there, you know, like big planters or something that would delineate that area if that would.
Well, so that it's not for us. It's if
Oh yes, I
if-
understand.
If
Yeah.
people are consuming alcohol outside of your licensed premises, then you're in violation.
Correct.
So, having clearly delineated licensed premises boundaries is to your benefit, not to ours.
Yes, I understand. we will make that correction.
Have any questions?
Any further questions? Type of action, please.
Motion to, you okay?
Yeah, if they're gonna make the correction, then what do we do?
Yeah, put that in your, make that in your motion, that the licensed premises will be clearly defined.
Yes, sir. Motion to approve request number 18-13967 with the condition that licensee will clearly delineate their licensed premises.
Second.
Moved in second, all those in favor?
Aye.
I vote aye. Agenda item number 4, request number 18-13967 is approved.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Calling agenda item number 5, request number 18-14036 from Hip E Paka LLC. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. My name is Richard Pizzullo, P-E-Z-Z-U-L-O.
Commissioners, do you have any questions for the applicant or type of action?
Motion to approve request number 18-14036.
Second.
Then moved in second, all those in favor?
Aye.
I vote aye. Agenda item number 5, request number 18-14036 is approved.
Thank you.
Thank you. Calling agenda item number 6, request number 18-14600 from Demora Enterprises Inc. Mr. Z Bakalan.
Chair, members of the Commission, Emmanuel Zibak Halam, here on behalf of Tamara Enterprises. We have no comments and can answer any questions you have about this request.
Very good. Commissioners, do you have any questions for the applicant?
Yes, same question
Commissioner
for
Lee.
your previous extension. How do you plan to delineate?
So there's a bright red line that runs the course of the delineation, which is in Exhibit B. The only part that is not shown is with the red line is going to be this little walkway, and the reason for that walkway is so that we can have the contiguous space, because unfortunately the previous license was incorrectly licensed, and there's a reefer in here that has draft that runs all the way to the bar here. So far we've been unable to use that draft because there isn't a licensed space there that's connecting.
This is the former Robar.
Correct.
Commissioner Miyashiro.
Mr. Zibakalam, is your client intending to allow consumption of alcohol in that walkway space you just
No.
described?
As detailed in the letter from the landlord, no alcohol will be served or allowed to be consumed inside the storage space or this walkway.
So it's purely to allow egress to the storage facility.
Correct.
Thank you.
Anything further? Motion to approve request number 18-14600.
Second.
Then moved in second, all those in favor?
Aye.
I vote aye. Agenda item number 6, request number 18-14600 is approved.
Thank you.
Calling agenda item number 7, request number 19-14709 from LIQ Factory LLC. LIQ Factory LLC, doing business as La Casino.
My name is Mei Lu, LIU, and I'm here on behalf of the owner Don Trong regarding our renewal application for a liquor license.
What is the reason why folks are late?
So because of so we have a accountant and it's a very small firm, but he did have one person helping him run everything, and his partner had passed away in December. Therefore he sent him back on a lot of the paperwork that he normally submits for us on our behalf. So the tax clearance form that needed to be submitted by June 30th was not submitted.
Are you prepared to submit all the
So I
required
have
documents?
the tax clearance application, which has the stamp approved on both pages, and then I also have renewal application, certificate of liability insurance, as well as the check to pay for the licensing fee.
Thank you. Motion to approve request number 19-1470. 14709.
Second.
Moved in second, all those in favor?
Aye.
I vote aye. Agenda item number 7, request number 19-14709 is approved.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Calling agenda item number 8, request number 19-14730 from McCullough Union Service. Ms. Altunas.
I'm Gina Tomas, TOMAS. I was late because I was waiting on the state tax clearance, and I have everything else but that still. So I'm asking if I could have like 60 days to not try, it's already been done, but I'd have to wait for the clearance to come back, so I wanna give myself enough time.
Is 60 days enough time?
I'm not sure, but I just said 60.
If you need more time, you could just request additional time, so the commission can just approve whatever.
And if you're ready before that time frame, that's fine.
Oh, yeah.
So is 90 days gonna be okay?
Okay, 90 days is fine.
Motion to approve request number 19-14730 for an additional 90 days.
Second.
Moved in second, all those in favor?
Aye.
I vote aye. Agenda item number 8, request number 19-14730 is approved for an additional 90 days.
You have a question?
Yeah, do I just turn in everything else though?
You can inquire in front of
Oh,
the
in
desk
front, okay.
during working hours.
Tomorrow, yeah, okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Calling agenda item number 9, request number 19-14750 from Olamana Golf Links.
Hi, Ed Kageyama, Kageyama.
Thank you for coming, sir.
Thank you.
Commissioners, do you have any questions or type of action?
And you folks, how close are you to being ready to renew?
Very. I've turned in just about everything. The only thing and last thing I need is the state tax clearance, which when I went today to the tax office, my name wasn't as an authorized agent.
Okay.
And so I wasn't able to get it. But that's all I need, so it's gonna go down tomorrow.
Okay.
But everything else is
So
submitted.
you think 60 days would be sufficient?
Oh yeah.
Motion to approve request number 19-14750 for an additional 60 days.
Second.
Moved in second, all those in favor?
Aye.
I vote aye. Agenda item number 9 is request number 19-14750 is approved for an additional 60 days.
Thank you.
Calling agenda item number 10, request number 19-14733 from Mr. Wayne Luke on behalf of Hawaii Seafood House. Mr. Luke.
May the record reflect Wayne Nick of Council. This license was renewed last year, but not renewed this past July 1.
Commissioners?
So they're seeking a temporary license?
Yes.
Mr. Luke? And because this request is for a waiver of rule
The five-
3-82 32.18.
Yes.
My question would be, Mr. Luke, how long has it been?
Well,
This license?
it was renewed last year, July 1 it wasn't renewed.
Motion to approve request number 19-14733.
Second.
Moved in second, all those in favor?
Aye.
I vote aye. Agenda item number 10, request number 19-14733 is approved.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Luke. Calling agenda item number 11, Mr. Kikiuchi on behalf of Puma Kailua LLC.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair, members of the Commission, Keith Kiuch on behalf of the applicant. This is a license that expired on June 30th. We're applying for a standalone temporary license, new license. You recall we're in front of the commission because we'd actually got the license transferred, but the seller couldn't get the tax clearance.
This is your problem child, huh, Mr. Kiuchi?
Yeah, it is. It is.
Alright. Any questions? Motion to approve the request from Mr. Keith Kiuchi Esquire. Agenda item 11.
Second.
Moved in second, all those in favor?
Aye.
I vote aye. Agenda item number 11 is approved.
Thank you.
Chair, motion for the adoption of decision and order, agenda items 12 through 21 inclusive.
Second.
Moved in second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I vote aye. The adoption of decision and order, agenda items number 12 to 21 inclusive are approved. Moving into adjudications.
Good afternoon, members of the commission and Ms. Hirai, Deputy Corporation Counsel Monica Choi for the prosecution. And all adjudication matters on the agenda, items number 22 through 29.
Thank you. Calling agenda item number 22.
For Nom Nom, yeah. The attorney Gabe Provenza requested a 1-week continuance due to a conflict of the schedule. So I have no objection to moving hearing to July 26, 2018.
Thank you. Commissioner?
Motion to continue agenda item 22 Nom Nom to July 26th, is that correct?
Yes, correct.
July 26th, 2018.
Second.
Moved in second, all those in favor?
Aye.
I vote aye. Agenda item number 22 is continued to July 26th. Thank you. Calling agenda item number 23, Nom Nom.
This is a similar request by Gabe Provenza to continue the matter to July 26, 2018. I have no objection.
Motion to continue agenda item 23 to July 26th.
Second.
Been moved in second, all those in favor?
Aye.
I vote aye. Agenda item number 23 is continued to July 26th. Calling agenda item number 24, Food Pantry Ltd. Mr. Uyoka.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair, members of the Commission, Ms. Hirai, Robert Uyoka on behalf of Food Pantry Limited. Present to my right, Mr. Andrew Kawano, he's Executive Vice President. First name A-N-D-R-E-W, last name K-A-W-A-N-O.
Thank you.
At this time, we'd like to request a continuance. We did submit a written continuance. We did obtain additional information. This is our second request. We just received the information last week. We're requesting for a 45-day continuance to September 6th.
I have no objection.
Thank you.
Motion to continue, I'm sorry, September 6th, is that correct, Mr. Uyoka?
That's correct.
Motion to continue agenda item 24 Food Pantry Limited to September 6th, 2018.
Second.
Moved in second, all those in favor?
Aye.
I vote aye. Agenda item number 24 is continued to September 6, 2018.
Thank you so much.
Calling agenda item number 25, Lamont Skiff and Sundry.
Robert Uyoka on behalf of Lamont Gift and Sundry, present to my right, Mr. Andrew Kawano, Executive Vice President. At this time, we'd like to enter a plea of no contest and waive reading of the charge.
Motion to
Oh,
accept,
excuse me. We need to change the,
No,
it's okay.
he said no contest.
oh, I'm sorry.
Motion
you,
to
Val.
accept the plea.
Second.
Been moved in second, all those in favor?
Aye.
I vote aye. Agenda item number 25, the no contest plea is accepted.
This is a first time violation in the last 2 years for selling liquor to a minor. There was just one prior violation on December 10th, 2009, but due to the timing, I recommend a fine of $1,000.
Mr. Uyoka.
This is an unfortunate incident. The cashier did ask for ID, reviewed the ID, but did not read the ID correctly and thus sold the Bud Light beer. The employee was terminated. Lamont employees were retrained on June 14th, 2018. And we apologize for the incident.
Thank you. Commissioners, any questions?
Is this part of our compliance program?
Yes, it is.
Is the vertical ID used?
Yes.
Motion to approve the recommended fine of $1,000.
Second.
Been moved in second, all those in favor?
Aye.
I vote aye. Agenda item number 25, the recommended fine of $1,000 is approved. Calling agenda item number 26, Food Pantry.
Robert Uyoka on behalf of Food Pantry Limited, present to my right, Mr. Andrew Kawano, Executive Vice President. At this time, I believe the Deputy Prosecutor of Deputy Corporation Counsel will be making a motion. We have no objection.
Yes, I move to amend the charge from Hawaii Revised Statute Section 281-41E to Liquor Commission Rule, I'm sorry, hold on, I wrote it down, 3-82-41.2B. And the reason why is there was a mistake in my file showing this to be a limited company, but it's actually a corporation, so this is the appropriate rule for the type of violation for corporations.
As stated, we have no objection to the amendment of the charge. Late time, I'd like to enter a plea of no contest, waive reading of the charge.
Motion to accept the plea.
Second.
Moved in second, all those in favor?
Aye.
I vote aye. Agenda item number 26, no contest plea is accepted.
In this matter, we had a change of vice president, and we sent the materials in 37 days after the deadline. We acknowledge our mistakes, and we will prevent this from happening again.
Ms. Choi, what's your recommendation?
This is a first time violation. I recommend a fine of $500.
Commissioners, any questions? Motion to approve the recommended fine of $500.
Second.
Then moved in second, all those in favor?
Aye.
I vote aye. Agenda item number 26, the recommended fine of $500 is approved. Calling agenda item number 27, Foodland Supermarket.
Robert Uyoka on behalf of Foodland Supermarket Limited, present to my right, Mr. Andrew Kawano, Executive Vice President. At this time, I'd like to request a continuance for 30 days. We were recently retained on this matter. It's our first request for continuance.
I have no objection.
Thank you. Motion to continue agenda item 27 for 30 days.
Sorry, 35 days would be August 23rd.
You want a date specific?
Yes, we
Yes.
August 23rd.
August 23rd. Okay. I amend my motion. Motion to continue agenda item 27 to August 23rd.
Second.
Moved in second, all those in favor?
Aye.
I vote aye. Agenda item number 27 is continued to August 23rd, 2018.
Thank you very much.
Calling agenda item number 28, Second Save.
Robert Uyoka on behalf of Second Say, present to my right, Mr. Andrew Kawano, Executive Vice President. At this time, we'd like to enter a plea of no contest, and we waive reading of the charge.
Motion to accept the plea.
Second.
Moved in second, all those in favor?
Aye.
I vote aye. Agenda item number 28, the no contest plea is accepted. Ms. Choi.
This is a first time violation for selling liquor to a minor. I recommend a fine of $1,000.
In this case, it was a really tough one. The employee requested for the ID, just like she was trained. She looked at the ID. She put the date of birth in, but she put in 1996 instead of 1998. Nonetheless, it was a violation. The employee was placed on leave without pay, and she met with the management and members of the training team after the incident. We generally have a zero tolerance policy and terminate employees on the first time incident, and that's generally our across the board policy. But this particular employee had a 16-year solid record as a cashier employee with no prior incidents. So in that, she is still employed with us, given the circumstances, and we did discuss with her that it's not an excuse, but she is still an employee. We did not terminate her. We asked that the commission take that into consideration.
Was a vertical ID presented?
Yes, it was.
I'm sure you folks have enhanced training about what vertical IDs mean.
Absolutely, yes.
16-year employee, and she did not recognize vertical ID.
I think she entered it wrong, so she just got the year wrong. So she made the person 22 years old instead of 20 years old.
I understand that, but it was a vertical ID.
It was.
Not a horizontal ID.
I agree. That's
I mean,
correct.
That should have sent off the bells and whistles
Absolutely.
immediately if she was a 16-year employee.
Absolutely. That's correct, Mr. Chairman.
Nonetheless, thank you for not terminating her.
I have a
Go ahead.
question. Mr. Kawano, you're the Executive Vice President of both Food Pantry Limited and Foodland Supermarket Limited?
That's correct, yes,
And
currently.
Did you receive notification by the commission that we're gonna do compliance enforcement actions?
Yes.
And what did you do to educate either side of the two entities that you're executive VP of?
We can you restate that question again? Sorry. Yeah.
I understood that you, whether you're in your capacity as executive vice president of either Food Pantry or Foodland Supermarket, you received notification that the compliance program would commence.
Yes.
And so my follow-up question is, what did you do to educate, inform your employees to not only comply with the rules without our compliance program, but enhanced compliance?
Yeah, so our operations team at that time put on training sessions to cover the enhanced compliance program, and also sent all of the district managers who oversee multiple stores to classes for the program. And you know, it's really sad and unfortunate, but even with that, and the fact that we have annual read and sign process type procedures, and we do communications every time there's a seasonal period. So, 4th of July, we send notices out, reminders out. Labor Day, we do the same thing, and it's just unfortunate, and we feel bad about what happened.
Do you folks hold your managers accountable when this occurs?
Yes.
How do you do that?
They get counseled, and they also get retrained. And I think if we've had situations where the same manager in charge has this kind of situation that happens during their schedule, we will take personnel action on the manager.
Thank you.
I have just one question. So do you have any internal security operations?
Yes,
Do
we
you test your cashiers to make sure that they're compliant?
Yes, we do have we have two levels. So we have internal security, but our security team is mostly focused on shoplifting. But they do observe and watch cashier behaviors when they're in a store. We also have mystery shopper service, who who buy beer, for instance, and go through the checkout and assess whether or not proper procedures in terms of checking ID are performed. So we have that in place.
Yeah, thank you.
Motion to approve the recommended fine of $1,000.
Second.
Moved in second, all those in favor?
Aye.
I vote aye. Agenda item number 28, the recommended fine of $1,000 is approved.
Thank you.
Calling agenda item
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
CC's Lounge.
Again, good afternoon, Mr. Chair, members of the Commission, Keith Kiuchi for the licensee. To my right is Hua, HWA, OK, Joyner, JOYNER. Waive reading of the charge and or plea of no contest.
Before I make a motion, is your phone turned off? I don't want any
Yes.
more interruptions, please. Thank you. Motion to accept the plea.
Second.
Been moved in second, all those in favor?
Aye.
I vote aye. Agenda item number 29, the no contest plea is accepted.
Ms. Joy.
This is a first time violation where the licensee's employee consumed liquor while on duty. I recommend a fine of $300.
The employee is no longer employed with Ms. Joyner. Ms. Joyner does not allow, it's not operated as a hostess bar. And nevertheless, she's not supposed to consume liquor while on duty regardless. So she talked to the employee, but the employee no longer works for her.
Thank you. And other employees have been made aware of this rule?
Yes.
Yes.
Motion to approve the recommended fine of $300.
Second.
Been moved in second, all those in favor?
Aye.
I vote aye. Agenda item number 29, the recommended fine of $300 is approved.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kiuchi. Yes, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Choi.
Thanks.
Calling excuse me, calling agenda item number 30. Excuse me.
Good afternoon, members of the Commission. Yogota, appearing on behalf of Ford Oahu Nui. To my immediate right is Jun Naole, director of the nonprofit, and to my far right is Mr. Raymond Ho Jr., the promoter.
Thank you. Commissioners, you have questions for the applicant or Mr. Gold, would you like to take
I can
first
address the
bite?
Commission if
Yes,
there's no
would you like
immediate
to address
questions.
the
So,
commission first?
we're in receipt of the email from the Department of Planning and Permitting, and we've reviewed that. It's our position we disagree with the basis of their for their conclusion regarding this event. The premise of their conclusion is that this is a permanent venue, Our position is that this is a temporary event, temporary use of the premise. It's a one-time event. There's no future events planned at this location. If we look to Mr. Raymond Young's email to Chief Investigator Nakagawa, he states that he states that the event would violate city zoning ordinance if considered a permanent venue. And so our position is that this is not a permanent venue. There's no permanent structures. Everything will be removed immediately following this one event. And so we disagree with the basis that DPP has stated in their email. In addition, we respectfully request that the Commission consider the financial hardship that Fort Oahu Nui will suffer should the Commission revoke the liquor license. Subsequent to the granting of the license, both the nonprofit licensee and the promoter expended funds, non-refundable funds, to secure certain services for the event. At the Commission's, if they allow, I wanted Ms. Naole to address the Commission regarding this also.
And just before you begin, Ms. Naole, this is for the event scheduled for July 27th and 28th.
Correct.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Thank you. Ms. Naole, please.
Our nonprofit is we're new and we started in 2015. Sorry. It's really hard to fundraise and to be able to generate funds to help with what our mission is. And our mission is to help underprivileged communities, disadvantaged communities in the Waipahu, Kunia, and Waipio, Waikele area, which is where I'm a resident of. And we focus on helping with education, the environment, social, economic development. And this event was kind of like a, match made in heaven, because we have somebody who's an expert that's willing to help us fundraise and is able to put on the events and knows how to put on the events. And it was just something that we could be able to do. And it's a shock to think that now it might not happen and there's just all the things that we had planned for it. We had students that are coming from Waipahu High School that's going to be fundraising, and they're helping with the cleanup and helping with picking up the recyclables. And so they were going to be able to fundraise, and that was the basketball team and the volleyball team. We just had so much invested, and it's just overwhelming that it may not happen.
Thank you.
Commissioners, any other questions?
Mr. Koto.
Yes.
And so are there, I understand this is planning to be a big event.
Correct.
Is everything going to be removed from the premises the night of the event? Right after the event, are things going to be?
It goes into Sunday and Monday. So some companies like the dumpster and the bathrooms, certain things they'll come on work days.
How long does it take for the entire property to be cleared of all event materials and infrastructure? How long?
I would say by end of Monday.
Okay, so you guys going Friday, Saturday, or Saturday? Friday, Saturday, and then Sunday, Monday.
Yeah, because they're building a big structure stage, so it takes time to break it down. Like, it takes them 3 days to build
by
it.
Tuesday, I can go to this
Oh, yeah.
property and there will be no evidence of an event having been taken place there.
Yep.
Any further questions? I have one question for Mr. Lee.
Yes.
So you contacted Mr. Ho to ask for his help in
Yes.
fundraising?
What had happened, and I don't mean to get personal, is that we weren't able to fundraise because I was diagnosed with breast cancer. and so I had two major surgeries in 2017, and we needed to fundraise, and this just happened. I mean, like I said, it was just such a perfect match because he could do, the event and help us with the event, and we had his expertise in it, and yeah, I'm sorry.
That's fine.
I have another question.
Commissioner Min.
What percentage of the proceeds from this event are gonna be going to your nonprofit?
70%.
Do we have any further questions? If not, then this commission will take this agenda item number 30 under advisement. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Okay, calling agenda item number 31. Do we have any administrative matters? Meeting is adjourned. Thank you.